Yo, what's up everyone? Kyrios here. Welcome back. And today we've got the 8 red nucleuses that you can find in the gray zone. Yes, there is 8 of them, and some of them are a lot harder to do than others, aka some of them are locked behind bosses, but there are some easy ones to get. So you can probably go in there, get a few red nucleuses for upcoming banners that are coming out. So I'll show you the map, and then I'll show you all the locations with a little bit of gameplay on how to get there. You guys can hit that like and subscribe, check out the Tower of Fantasy playlist, and let's get started. All right, here's the general overview of the map. You can see there's 8 markers. These are the arrow markers, and most of them are in the north. So let's go ahead and start with the south first. And the one we're going to start with is down in the quicksand belts. This one's actually really annoying, and I like to call it the quicksand, essentially death or trap. All right, once you're in that general area, you're going to find this giant quicksand pit. Now, you probably have seen this before when trying to get the teleporter down below. So what you're going to want to do is jump into the middle here. Make sure you do not teleport, because teleporting will kick you out of the gray zone. Once you're down below, you're going to want to go past the teleporter through this cave-like structure or cave tunnel system, whatever you want to call it. Head all the way down, grab all the goodies on the way, and eventually you'll come to a weaver. Now, luckily for me, I am a fire main, so I actually do very well in the gray zone. So you might struggle a little bit here if you're a Volt main or any other main right now. But if you can take down the weaver, this will be your first red nucleus. All right, since we're doing these in order, the next one on the list is actually the whale fight. Now, this fight is super annoying, and luckily for everyone, we actually have a dedicated video to the whale fight. You are going to need gear. It's going to require, 50,000 gear score, ideally using Samir or using combat blades. And there's different ways to do it, but I have a whole video. Go check it out over here. And that's where you're going to get your second red nucleus. All right, that brings us to number 3, which I like to call the triple doggos of doom. So you're essentially going to run on over to this abandoned structure or this old, I don't know, graveyard site. I don't even know what to call this thing. But you're going to have these 3 doggos, and they each have different elemental weaknesses, and they are in insane pain. They have every single ability that you possibly hate. They can electrify you. They can reflect the damage. They can also just blink to you and really just ruin your day. So if you could do everything you can, pop some food, pop whatever you got, and try and just burn down one of them at a time as quickly as possible. I got super lucky that one of mine somehow got distracted, but one of them will be weak to fire, one of them will be weak to volt, one of them will be weak to ice. If you can take down the one that is weak to the element that you're strong at as quickly as possible, it should set the stage for trying to succeed. And also, you're probably going to need to bring some healing. All right, next one is where one of the overworld elites are, where the triple chest is. You probably know which one I'm talking about, but go ahead and head on over to the area that we just shown on screen, and you will find a stalker and a few other enemies. Now, stalkers are really annoying. They make it so you essentially can't dodge at all. If you're having trouble with stalkers, try to find a little bit of elevation somewhere to try and mow them down with like something like Samir or Ruby or any kind of ranged weapon. And then also use your hook shot if you do need to move or you do need to go recover some life. Since you can't dodge, your hook shot can get you out of a lot of trouble here. All right, next up, we do have the puppet, and the puppet is one of the world bosses. Extremely hard to do. A lot of people are having trouble with it. I had a lot of trouble with it. It took me about 7 minutes and 15 seconds to kill it myself. So, 1, you got to be pretty geared. 2, hopefully you're pretty geared on some ranged characters. I'm just going to give you some quick tips here on how I took down Puppet. 1, you have to use scriptures to go in there so you have optimal time. 2, make sure that you have your jetpack and you have Kant on in order to help try and save you from any of the damage that the Puppet Master can do. Now, doing melee here is a very risky move because essentially any hit that she could hit you with is either going to one-shot you or very hurt you. And some of her hits actually will put a dot on you as well. So make sure you have really good food prepared and ready to go here, and you have a healing weapon with you as well. Now, eventually, if you do get her down 2 bars down. I'll have a whole video workup on this with a little bit more detail. She does do her prism move just like in the story. And Nemesis goes a long way here. But anything that helps you burst repeatedly is going to go a long way here as well. Now, if you get lucky doing all that and you're able to down her, you'll have a nice fancy red nucleus and a bunch of other stuff. All right, we're going to head on over to the right side. Now, this one is kind of a pain. You can see there's 2 teleporters. Now, we're going to use that inner teleporter as guidance. If you don't have it, please go get it. It's definitely going to help you out a lot to know where that is. Now, once you get to that teleporter, you're going to essentially go on the other side of the cliff. There's like a cliff dividing it. You can still see the teleporter if you jump up high enough. And then you're just going to see a giant pit on the other side of that teleporter. Now, at the bottom of that pit, you're going to have a Stalker and a Weaver. A terrible combo. If that Stalker gets you frozen, that Weaver is essentially going to one-shot you. Now, what I suggest you do here again is go back to range, especially if you're Ruby. I don't know if you do, or if you have a bunch of other fire or any other range will do. But if you can get some elevation here, you can essentially just cheese this fight. Or at least that's what I did. I cheesed it. I don't like dealing with Stalkers. Stalkers are annoying. And I would just focus on the Weaver, and then taking out a Stalker by itself is not the worst thing in the world. But if you can take that Weaver out first, it's going to go a long way. And then you'll have a fancy new red nucleus. All right, we're almost there. Now that brings us to the one just north of the one we were just previously reviewing. But so if you go to that area, you'll find a whole bunch of water, and it's really hard to miss. It's honestly probably the easiest red nucleus to get, except for the fact that you have to fight a Weaver again and a Stalker. Now, once again, if you're fire or if you can burst on the Stalker, highly suggest that you do that. I did not do very well on this fight. You can see I dodged a bunch of times, and I got very lucky that nothing killed me. So just make sure that you are using the water to your advantage. If you can burst, you can burst. Luckily for me, I could burst, but definitely taking the Weaver and kiting it around might help you out a lot. All right, that brings us to the final fight, which is the official Abyss Weaver, or the big boy Abyss Weaver. Now, this fight can be a pain considering most people are Volt mains, and it is resistant to Volt. Not the coolest combo in the world. Its ultimate is pretty easy to avoid if you can't break its shield. That's not a big problem. Just make sure you kite around. Make sure you bring food with you. The biggest tip I can give you here is make sure that you have your jetpack, so you can actually fly over his beam move, which does a typical amount of damage. Other than that, just kite it around, do as much damage as you can, use some food, and hopefully you can get it. It might be a lot easier to do this once we get Saki as well, depending on what fire and frost units that you have. Well, guys, that's all she wrote. That's all he wrote. That's all someone wrote. Hopefully that helped you out. Hopefully that gave you a little guidance on where to get that. And I know most people will only be able to get maybe the 5 because they can't do the world boss. But 5 could help you tip the scales and getting some of those characters, maybe like Saki coming out, or whenever you're watching this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you're enjoying the Gray Zone. I think most people that stop by our stream seem to not like it. But as a final little tip, there is a ton of old Vera coins there. I think something like 6,000 plus. So there is reasons to do it. Just do it over time. Take your time with it. I'll see you guys on the next video. I will see you guys on the live streams. And thank you so much. Peace out and fist bump from me to you.